TubNet might just be one of the worst server failures ever. Despite having promotion from so many famous YouTubers, TubNet's player count had as low as 20 players on average just 2 weeks after its grand opening. I have a couple ideas as to why this happened, with the first being the lack of any real marketing. A key factor in the popularity of a Minecraft server is the presence it has online. For Hypixel, it's the strong community containing thousands of YouTubers that frequently make content on their server, subsequently advertising it in all of their videos. For MCC Island, their popularity came from Minecraft Championship, a reoccurring Minecraft event which featured some of the community's biggest YouTubers such as Dream and Technoblade. Millions of collective viewers tune into every MCC, and because it's a closed event, when a public version of the server opened, it was and is a massive success. However, TubNet's popularity draws from its owner Tubbo wanting to give his fans a fun new server to play from time to time. However, his efforts to continually advertise the server have been lackluster, to say the least. I did a quick look through on his Twitch, and despite streaming to tens of thousands of people almost every day, not one of these streams have been on TubNet. In fact, he doesn't even seem to really advertise it anywhere on any of his socials. There is no mention of TubNet on his About page on Twitch, as well as zero mentions of the server on his main Twitter account. The only thing I could find were a couple of promotions that he retweeted on his second Twitter account, which, albeit, still has 1.6 million followers, but these tweets only stay on people's timelines for a day at most. If Tubbo were to consistently stream and advertise the server on his Twitch, perhaps even make a video about it on one of his YouTube channels, this would not only remind viewers of the server's existence, but perhaps even entice them to play the server more. And if that were to happen, I can guarantee we'd see a much higher average player count. However, one could argue that the lack of marketing is a relatively smaller issue compared to the gameplay itself. For most Minecraft servers, the quality of gameplay plays a huge part in player sustainability. Most major multiplayer servers typically have an original game mode that is known to be the staple of the server, which gives the players a unique experience that they can only get by playing there, resulting in a more active and reoccurring player base. For Hypixel, it's Skywars, Bed Wars, their unique version of Skyblock, alongside a plethora of other examples. For MCC Island, pretty much every one of their game modes are unique to their server. However, the same can't really be said for TubNet, as the server currently features only 3 game modes for players to try: Crystal Rush, Light Strike, and a Battle Royale game mode, all of which are either straight copies of other pre-existing games, or at least have taken heavy inspiration from them. Crystal Rush is essentially just a 1.19 copy of Hypixel Bed Wars. The gameplay is essentially identical, with players competing against each other to collect resources and kill the enemy teams. Battle Royale, while being the game that I had the most fun playing, is just another take on the popular survival games concept. This style of game has been done countless times before, with other servers currently offering more innovative twists on the game mode. Even Light Strike, which is considered to be the most original game concept of the 3, is just a copy of games like CSGO and Valorant. Don't believe me? Well, let's have a look at the original game's description. Starting the game, players get split into 2 teams, the Placers and the Breakers. The Placers have an item called the Star, which they must plant somewhere on the map and defend against the Breakers, whose objective is to remove the Star before its time reaches 0 and explodes. Yeah, it sounds pretty familiar, right? Because of this, and the points I mentioned earlier, I noticed that queue times were especially high, sometimes taking up to 20 minutes to get into a single game. Unless you're like an insanely big fan of Tubbo, or you got like banned on Valorant and you just need your fix, there is just no point in waiting in these queues. Like, there are so many other servers that you could play and have a better time. You know, speaking of a good time, be sure to subscribe. We're trying to hit 30K. Okay. After everything I just said, do I think it's too late for TubNet? Well, not necessarily. While it may seem like there's no hope at all right now, it's important to keep in mind that this server still has a ton of potential. Despite my criticism of the games being unoriginal, they were still quite enjoyable and provided a decent amount of entertainment. Perhaps not in the long term, but at the time, they were alright. You know, whenever I could actually queue them. I truly believe that if the TubNet developers were to add a couple new and original games, or simply have Tubbo consistently advertise the server, that we could potentially see a TubNet comeback in the near future.